Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Juniper entered without knocking, like she always did. But this time, her casual intrusion was met with an unexpected surprise. "Dylan?" she called out, her voice echoing in the empty hallway. As she pushed open the door to their shared apartment, she found herself face to face with a vision she couldn't quite process. Her shy, unassuming roommate stood before her, transformed. His usual attire of baggy jeans and hoodies had been replaced by a form-fitting silk blouse and a flowing skirt, their delicate patterns dancing across the fabric. His face, once hidden behind a curtain of unkempt hair, was now a canvas of carefully applied makeup, with rosy cheeks and lips that popped against his pale skin. And atop it all, a wig of long, flowing locks framed his features, contrasting sharply with his usual short crop. The silence that followed was thick with surprise and a hint of awkwardness. Dylan, caught in the spotlight of Juniper's unexpected entrance, froze. His wide eyes reflected a storm of emotions: embarrassment, fear, and a touch of defiance. "Oh my God, Dylan! I didn't know!" Juniper's voice trailed off as she took in the sight before her. Her curiosity piqued. She took a step forward, her eyes scanning her roommate's transformation with a mixture of wonder and fascination. Dylan stammered, his cheeks burning. He fidgeted with the sleeves of his blouse, the delicate fabric rustling softly under his nervous touch. "I can explain." Juniper held up her hands in a placating gesture. "No, it's cool. I'm just surprised, that's all. You look..." She paused, searching for the right word. "Amazing. Actually, this is a whole new side of you I never knew existed." Dylan's shoulders relaxed slightly, the tension easing from his posture. "It's kind of a secret passion of mine," he mumbled, his voice soft and hesitant. "Well, clearly," Juniper laughed, her voice warm and encouraging. "But why the secret? You look fantastic. I mean, just look at this getup. Where did you even get all this stuff?" She gestured to the ensemble, her gaze taking in the delicate accessories, the pearl earrings, the dainty necklace, and the silver bracelet that glinted on Dylan's wrist. I got them online," Dylan replied, a slight smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "It started as a bit of an experiment, I guess. I've always felt a bit restricted by the whole boys will be boys thing, you know? So I started exploring, trying on clothes, playing with makeup. It was like discovering a whole new world." Juniper nodded, her eyes shining with a mixture of empathy and excitement. "I get that. Totally. And it looks like you've really embraced it. I mean, just look at that blouse. It's gorgeous. Silky." A soft laugh escaped Dylan's lips, and he ran a hand self-consciously through his wig. "Thanks. It feels nice to be able to talk about it with someone. Most people just don't get it, you know? They think it's weird or grotesque." "Well, screw 'em," Juniper said with a dismissive wave of her hand. "If this is what makes you happy, then who cares what anyone else thinks? Life's too damn short to spend it pleasing other people." Dylan's smile widened at her enthusiastic support. "That's easier said than done, especially with something like this. It's not exactly something you can just shout from the rooftops, you know?" "True," Juniper agreed, her tone softening. "But you shouldn't have to hide it either. It's a part of who you are, and it's beautiful. I mean, just look in the mirror. Anyone can see that." Dylan's cheeks flushed, and he averted his gaze, his long lashes casting shadows on his rosy cheeks. "Thanks, Juniper. That means a lot coming from you." Juniper's face split into a wide grin. "Anytime. So come on, spill. How long have you been doing this, and why the secret? We've been roommates for like 2 years, and I had no idea." "I know," Dylan said, his voice lowering as he took a step closer, drawn in by Juniper's genuine interest. "It started a few months after we moved in together. I found an old dress of my mom's in a box in the attic. It was hidden under a bunch of other stuff, like she didn't want anyone to find it. I tried it on as a joke at first, but then I just kind of kept doing it. It made me feel good. like I'd found a part of myself I never knew existed. Juniper nodded, her eyes reflecting the emotions dancing in Dylan's. I get that. And you know what? I'm glad you found it. This is awesome, Dillian. You do you, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Dylan's heart swelled with a mixture of relief and gratitude. Here, in this moment, he felt truly seen and accepted. Thanks, Juniper, he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Anytime, Juniper replied, her voice warm and sincere. So, does this mean I get a personal fashion show or what? She added with a mischievous grin. Dylan let out a startled laugh, his shoulders shaking lightly. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm still getting used to, well, all of this. Well, take your time, Juniper said, her tone gentle. But I'm here if you need another pair of eyes or an extra opinion. I'm no fashionista, but I can appreciate a good look when I see one. Thanks, Juniper, Dylan said, his voice filled with gratitude. I think I might just take you up on that offer. And as they stood there, the silence between them no longer awkward, but comfortable and warm, the spark of a new understanding ignited. So, how long have you been doing this? Juniper asked, her eyes scanning the intricate makeup and the precision with which it had been applied. I mean, this is some serious skill, way beyond my capabilities. Dylan's fingers drifted self-consciously to his wig, straightening the already perfect strands. A couple of years, on and off. There were a lot of online tutorials, and I kinda just picked it up as I went along. It started as a curiosity, something to pass the time, and then it just kinda stuck. Well, I'm glad it did, Juniper said, her voice earnest. It suits you, and you clearly have a talent for it. A soft blush tinted Dylan's cheeks, and he looked down, a shy smile playing at his lips. Thanks. It's become a bit of an obsession, I guess. I just never knew how to bring it up, especially with you being so… well, you? Juniper's eyebrows knitted together in mild confusion. What do you mean, with me being so me? What does that even mean? Dylan waved a hand in the air, the long sleeves of his blouse rustling softly. You know, you're just so confident and outgoing. I always figured you'd be the judgmental type, you know? Like, too cool for school or whatever. A peal of laughter escaped Juniper's lips, filling the room with its infectious melody. Me? Judgmental? Oh, Dylan, you have no idea. If anything, I'm the last person to judge. I live my life by the motto, you do you. Besides, she added, her voice turning playful, if anyone should be judging, it's me. I let you draw on my face with permanent marker during that party last year. Remember? You owed me one. Dylan's eyes widened, and he brought a hand to his mouth, his face a mask of feigned horror. Oh my God, I'd completely forgotten about that. I can't believe you let me do that. You must have looked like a hot mess. I did, Juniper said, her smile widening at the memory. But it was worth it for the story. And hey, at least it washed off. This, she gestured to Dylan's face, is a whole other level of commitment. True, Dylan said, his smile fading into a more serious expression. It takes time and precision, and a lot of practice. It's become a form of self-care for me, a way to unwind and relax. It's like meditating or doing yoga, but with better outfits. Juniper laughed, a rich, full sound that filled the room. Okay, yoga master. Teach me your ways. She struck a dramatic pose, one leg extended, arms raised in a V shape above her head. Dylan rolled his eyes good-naturedly, but his lips curved in a smile. I think we should start with the basics. Like, why are you standing like that? Did you forget how to human? Oh, hush, Juniper said, collapsing into a fit of giggles. I'm a quick learner. Give me a crash course and I'll be strutting my stuff in no time. The air between them buzzed with the electricity of shared laughter and a newfound connection. All right, yoga pants, Dylan teased, taking on a mock-serious tone. Since you asked so nicely, I might just take you under my wing. As their laughter faded, a comfortable silence settled around them, interrupted only by the soft rustle of fabric as Dylan adjusted his skirt. So you want the whole story then? he asked, his voice lowered, inviting Juniper into this secret world he'd kept hidden for so long. "Hit me," Juniper replied, her expression open and eager. She crossed her legs, leaning forward in anticipation, her eyes never leaving Dylan's as she waited for him to continue. Dylan took a deep breath, his gaze flicking momentarily to the floor before returning to meet Juniper's curious stare. "It all started when I was a kid," he began, his voice soft and weighted with the memory of childhood longings. "I used to sneak into my mom's wardrobe when she was out. I'd try on her dresses, spin around in her high heels, and smear her lipstick all over my face. It made me feel free, like I could be anyone or anything I wanted." Juniper nodded, her eyes reflecting Dylan's as she hung on his every word. "And did you ever talk to your mom about it? Or did she catch you in the act?" A soft laugh escaped Dylan's lips, tinged with a hint of sadness. "Oh, she caught me all right. I was about 8 years old, and I'd managed to squeeze into one of her sundresses. I felt like a princess, spinning and twirling in front of the mirror. But then I heard her car pull into the driveway, and I panicked. I tried to wriggle out of the dress, but I ended up tangling myself up even more. She walked in on me like that, a human knot of fabric and limbs." "What did she do?" Juniper asked, her voice quiet, as if she were afraid of disturbing the memory. "She laughed," Dylan said, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "At first, she just stood in the doorway, laughing so hard there were tears in her eyes. Then she helped me untangle myself, and we sat on the bed, the dress a crumpled mess on the floor between us. She asked me why I'd done it, and I remember telling her that I just wanted to see what it was like. She smiled and said that it was okay, that it was just a dress, and if it made me happy, then it was fine by her." "That's beautiful," Juniper whispered, her eyes shining with a mixture of wonder and admiration. "She sounds like an amazing woman." Dylan nodded, his gaze turning inward as he recalled his mother's gentle spirit. "She was, and she always told me that I could be whoever I wanted to be, that there was no mold I had to fit into. So I guess you could say this," he gestured to his attire, "is an extension of that. A way to honor her memory and embrace her teachings." Juniper's heart swelled with the weight of Dylan's words and the depth of his story. "Dylan, that's incredible. I had no idea this went so deep. It's more than just a hobby or a passion. It's a part of who you are." "It is," Dylan agreed, his voice steady and sure. "And it's taken me a while to accept that, but I'm getting there. With your help, apparently." He offered a soft smile, his eyes glinting with gratitude. "Anytime," Juniper said, her voice thick with emotion. "So, what now?" She gestured to his current ensemble. "Is this your go-to look, or do you have a whole wardrobe of stuff I've never seen?" Dylan's smile widened at the prospect of sharing more of his hidden world with Juniper. "Oh, I have a whole collection, different outfits for different moods. And trust me, there are some outfits that would blow this one out of the water." Juniper's eyes widened in mock horror. "Please tell me you're not about to bring out a ball gown and tiara, because I don't know if my heart can take that kind of fabulousness." Dylan laughed, a rich, full sound that filled the room. "Not today, Your Highness. But who knows what the future holds? We might have to arrange a royal ball, just so I have an excuse to wear it." "Make it a masquerade," Juniper suggested, playing along with a grin. "That way, I can rock a mask and pretend I'm one of those mysterious, brooding characters from those old romance novels." "Deal," Dylan said, holding out his hand, which was adorned with long, polished nails. Juniper took it without hesitation, their hands clasping in a handshake that sealed their unspoken pact. In that moment, the air between them shimmered with the promise of future adventures and shared secrets. The weight of Dylan's revelation hung between them, lightened only by the easy flow of their conversation and the laughter that bubbled up periodically. "So does this mean I get to raid your wardrobe whenever I want?" Juniper teased, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Dylan mock glowered at her, but his heart wasn't in it. "Oh, sure. Go ahead. Try to squeeze into my clothes, see if I care." Juniper stuck her tongue out in response, her eyes dancing with laughter. "Oh, I'll squeeze all right, and I bet I'd rock those heels better than you." "In your dreams, Juniper," Dylan retorted, but there was no heat in his words. Their playful bickering filled the room, displacing any lingering tension with the warmth of their shared humor. It was a dance they'd performed many times before, but now it held a new layer of intimacy, a reflection of the unspoken bond that had formed between them. "You know," Dylan said, his voice turning thoughtful, "there's a whole world of this stuff online. Tutorials, makeup reviews, fashion hauls. It's a whole community of people who get it." Juniper's eyes lit up with interest. "Really? Like a secret society of cross-dressers and makeup gurus?" Dylan laughed. "Something like that. There are forums, YouTube channels, the whole shebang. It's actually pretty cool. People share tips, offer support, and just generally celebrate this whole other side of themselves." "That's amazing," Juniper said, her enthusiasm overflowing. "And here I thought the internet was just for cat videos and pointless arguments." "Oh, there's plenty of that too," Dylan said with a grin. "But this is like discovering a hidden room in a house you've lived in your whole life. It's exhilarating and a little scary." Juniper's smile was soft and understanding. "I can only imagine. But I'm glad you found it, and I'm glad you're letting me in." Dylan's heart warmed at her words, and he felt a rush of gratitude wash over him. "You have no idea what it means to be able to talk about this." "And to not have to hide it." Juniper held his gaze, her eyes shining with sincerity. "Hey, what are roommates for, right? Plus, I get to live out my childhood fantasy of playing dress-up." Their laughter filled the room once more, a symphony of friendship and shared confidences. "Just promise me you won't make me wear any of your frilly socks," Dylan teased. Juniper feigned a gasp of indignation. "Hey, those socks are fabulous, and you know it. They add a certain je ne sais quoi to any outfit. Or a certain je ne sais crazy," Dylan shot back with a grin. And so their camaraderie continued, the rhythm of their banter as familiar as it was comforting. But beneath the lighthearted exchange, a deeper understanding had taken root, ready to bloom into something beautiful and unexpected. As their laughter subsided, Juniper's expression turned thoughtful. "You know, I think I speak for both of us when I say that our social lives have been pretty lackluster lately. What do you say we do something about that?" Dylan raised an eyebrow, a silent invitation for her to continue. "Well," Juniper began, her voice taking on a conspiratorial tone, "we could host a little get-together. You know, invite some friends over. Maybe that cute barista you've been crushing on." Dylan's face broke into a broad grin. "Oh, you mean Alex?" "I don't know, Juniper. I don't want to get my hopes up. I mean, they're probably just being nice when they write their number on my coffee cup." Juniper rolled her eyes, a playful smirk tugging at her lips. "Dylan, honey, when someone writes their number on your cup, it's not because they're being nice. It's because they want you to call them. Trust me. I've been on the receiving end of that move before." Dylan's cheeks flushed a delicate shade of pink, and he ducked his head, a shy smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "You really think so? I mean, I don't want to assume—" "Oh, I know so," Juniper said, her voice firm and assured. "And if you don't call them, I will. On your behalf, of course." Dylan's eyes widened in alarm. "You wouldn't." Juniper's grin turned wicked. "Oh, I would. In fact, I might just march down to that coffee shop right now and ask them out for you." "No," Dylan yelped, his voice rising an octave. Okay, I'll call them. Just give me a minute to work up the courage." Juniper's expression softened, and she reached out to give Dylan's hand a reassuring squeeze. "Hey, you've got this. And if they say no, well, it's their loss. You're a catch, Dylan. Don't ever forget that." Dylan's smile was grateful, if a little shaky. "Thanks, Juniper. I don't know what I'd do without you. Probably wallow in self-doubt and miss out on countless opportunities," Juniper teased, but there was a warmth in her words that took the sting out of them. Dylan laughed, a genuine, full-bodied sound that filled the room. Probably, but lucky for me, I have you to keep me on track. Damn straight, Juniper said, her smile wide and proud. Now, about this party. I'm thinking we go all out. Decorations, music, the works, and you, she pointed a finger at Dylan, can be in charge of the guest list. Invite whoever you want, but make sure Alex is at the top of that list. Dylan's eyes sparkled with excitement, the prospect of the party pushing his nerves about calling Alex to the back of his mind. Deal, but only if you promise to help me pick out an outfit. I want to look my best. Juniper's grin was positively gleeful. Oh, honey, by the time I'm done with you, you'll be the belle of the ball. Or the beau, whichever you prefer. Dylan's laughter was contagious, and soon they were both giggling like schoolchildren, their faces flushed with mirth and anticipation. As their laughter died down, Juniper's expression turned serious. But really, Dylan, I'm so proud of you for being brave enough to share this part of yourself with me. It couldn't have been easy. Dylan's smile was soft and reflective. It wasn't, but it feels good, like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I didn't realize how much I needed to talk about it until I did. Juniper nodded, her eyes shining with understanding. That's often how it goes. We carry these things around with us, thinking we're protecting ourselves by keeping them hidden. But really, we're just hurting ourselves more in the long run. Dylan's gaze was distant, as if he were looking into the past. I think a part of me was always afraid of being rejected, of losing the people I cared about if they knew the truth. Juniper's hand found Dylan's once more, her fingers intertwining with his in a gesture of solidarity. I get that, but the people who truly love you, the ones who matter, they'll accept you for who you are. And the ones who don't, well, they don't deserve to be in your life anyway. Dylan's smile was watery, but genuine. I know that now. And I have you to thank for that. Hey, what are roommates for? Juniper said, echoing her earlier sentiment. Besides, you've been there for me through some pretty rough times. It's only fair that I return the favor. Dylan's mind flashed back to the countless nights he'd stayed up with Juniper, listening to her pour her heart out over a bad breakup or a failed exam. He remembered holding her as she cried, offering words of comfort and support when she needed them most. We make a pretty good team, don't we? He said, his voice soft and reflective. Juniper's smile was warm and affectionate. The best. And now that we've got this whole cross-dressing thing out in the open, I feel like our bond is even stronger. Dylan laughed, a light, airy sound that filled the room. Who knew that all it would take was a little makeup and a wig to bring us closer together? Hey, don't knock it, Juniper said, her tone playful. I've heard of weirder bonding experiences. At least this one involves pretty clothes and killer contouring. Dylan's grin was wide and unabashed. True. And speaking of pretty clothes, I think it's time I gave you the grand tour of my wardrobe. If you're going to be my fashion consultant, you need to know what you're working with. Juniper clapped her hands together in excitement, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. Lead the way, my fashionable friend. I'm ready to be dazzled. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.